to the Writer Groupie podcast. I'm Kim Smith, the writing guru, bringing you discussions, insights, and insider details on planning, producing, promoting, and profiting as a writer. This is a podcast by writers for writers. You can find out more about Writer Groupie at www.writergroupie.net. And here's the next episode of Writer Groupie. So now I need to know what people think about beach reads. We asked the question on Facebook, and the answers we got were not conclusive. So you and I have been in this discussion now for a minute about beach reads. What constitutes a beach read? And we've pretty much come to the conclusion that a beach read is whatever the reader wants to make it. Doesn't have to be any specific genre, doesn't have to be any specific length necessarily. It just has to be a good book that you take with you, say on vacation. Now, the argument begins. What do you say?
Well, pretty much like you said, it's what you make of it. If you ask 100 people, I think you're going to get 100 answers. The people I've talked to just personally asked that question was pretty much about as varied. Nobody really knows what you want to call a beach read. Some people seem to think it's a deep and in-depth story where you forget the world around you. Others, like myself, I want something short. I want it light. I want the ability to be able to read a chapter. I have a chapter. Put the book down. Go play at the beach. Go get something to eat. Go run in the sand. Stop and sit down and spend another 30 minutes reading, picking up where I left off. I don't want it to be deep and in-depth where I'm going to lose part of the story simply because I didn't follow all aspects of the story. I want to be able to stop somewhere and pick it back up and easily know where I was without losing any important information. What about you?
Well, that's where we differ. To me, a beach read is a big book. A book that you've been waiting to read for a very long time and didn't want to divulge the time to put in to read it because you knew it was going to be an investment. So you wait till vacation to take it with you, where you can have the leisure to just sit down, dive in, and get involved. That means it could have a more complex plot line. It could have, more complex, in-depth characters. It could have a variety of things, anything that's going to get you in that book and keep you there for long periods of time. It's not the kind of book that you can just pick up, read a page or two, and sit down. That's my opinion of what a beach read is. Now, I think, to me, beach reads really fit the bill for a women's fiction novel or a romance novel, especially maybe a historical romance novel. But I know a lot of people, they take mysteries to the beach. They take sci-fis to the beach. It just depends on what your particular flavor of genre is and, what you like to do.
Well, I think any genre could be a beach read. It's the relaxing content. I mean, when you go to the beach, you think about laying in the sun, listening to the surf, playing in the ocean, getting sand and everything, including the pictures of your book. But the genre really wouldn't matter much. It's more the content of that genre. Like I said, do you want it to be an in-depth? Do you want it to be light? Are you looking for comedy? I think any genre could fit into it. But the main thing is, with a deep, in-depth book, aren't you concerned about losing important aspects of that story? Something that's going to play a pivotal role later when you're talking about it?
I don't. I think that a beach read is the kind of book that you want to take and sit down in your chair on the beach and dive in and be able to really read for a minute, because I think that our life has become so fast-paced that, we catch ourselves reading a snippet here and a snippet there. I doubt seriously most people today get a whole news story read at one sitting. And so a beach read to me is a book that you can sit down and you can really dive into. And it's almost like you're looking for an escape. Escapist fiction comes to mind when I think of this, because I think it's an opportunity for you to dive into a book and escape your real life and bury yourself like in the sand in a book.
But if you're wanting to escape your real life, that's why you go on vacation in the first place. That's why you go to the beach. I mean, granted, if you lived on the beach, going to the beach is not a getaway. But when you're in the rat race of working every day and dealing with bills and cleaning house and all the chores that come with everyday life, an escapism is going to the beach. It's getting away from your normal daily routine to experience something different. I just don't understand why you would want to travel all the way to the beach, beautiful ocean, and waste that entire experience with your face shoved in a deep book. Would you not really want a light book? Maybe not to read at the beach, maybe to read on the way to the beach, or to read for the 30 minutes or so sitting in the shade in the umbrella cooling off, relaxing. That's what you would want to read your 30 minutes for. Read a chapter, put the book down, and go have more fun with your family again.
I just don't think you're missing out on family activities. I don't think you're missing out on the surf and the sand and the fun and the sun. I think that it's just a temporary opportunity for you to really get some reading done. I mean, I just believe that our lives are so hectic that it's hard to get any good reading done. I mean, it's just, I know a lot of people have ebooks on their Kindles and they have ebooks on their phone, on their app, and they get maybe some reading done on their lunch hour. But it's like, how much time does it take to read a chapter? It takes time to get in a chapter in your reading. And sometimes you just want to sit down and just read. And it's not like you're cutting out the sun and the sand and the surf and the fun and the sun type stuff. You're not cutting out your family. You're not cutting out any of your vacation. This is a part of your vacation. You're diving into a book to relax yourself. It's all about relaxation and enjoyment. Real readers, I think, that's what they do for vacation. That is their vacation. It's an opportunity to just sit down with a book and just indulge in it.
Okay, you're talking about sitting down with a book. Are you talking about the traditional paper book? Are you talking about an e-book? Or what are you talking about?
Either way, a lot of people have gone from paper to e because they can carry a lot more books with them in an e-reader. I mean, you could have 100 books on your e-reader and you could pick any one of them at any given time to read. Some people still like paper. I personally, when I take a book with me anywhere, I have a big bag, I drop it in my bag, I take a book with me. I'm a book at a time reader. I don't read too many multiples anymore because I don't have time. So when I'm really investing time into a good read, it's going to be one book. So I don't necessarily need my Kindle, but that's just me.
It's understandable. Very understandable. But wouldn't you be more concerned about getting sand inside a Kindle, or going to the pool and having it splashed, or isn't that more of a concern of dropping it at the restaurant or whatever, as opposed to a book, a paperback book? If something were to happen, you were to forget it in a rest area, you can always go to another store and go buy the exact copy and pick up back where you left off. Whereas with your Kindle, it's really hard to do.
Well, losing your Kindle is probably a bigger concern than dropping your Kindle, because people today buy these cases for their Kindles like they do for their iPads and for their phones. They buy cases to put them in to protect them. So dropping them is not a big deal. Now, getting it splashed with water and getting sand in it and that kind of thing, that definitely would be a concern for me. But these machines are pretty powerful now. They've thought about certain things like that. They think about people and where they might be toting them to, like water side. So I think they probably have some kind of protection, built into the design of it, so that that's not an easy thing to do. However, if you really think about it, the cost of replacing a Kindle is not terrible anymore. They're pretty cost. What am I trying to say?
They're
cost effective or whatever, right? They're not terribly expensive. If you lost it or destroyed it, while you're on vacation, you could certainly get another one. And it's, something you buy from Amazon. So, Amazon will deliver to you. I'm understanding they're going to start delivering on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. So pretty soon you're going to be able to just say the word Amazon and something that you want is going to magically appear.
I think that's pretty much the way it is today. I can sit here and think to myself, I haven't read the latest Tom Clancy novel. And an hour later, someone knocks on the door and delivers it to me. So I'm already kind of concerned about Amazon anyway. But
well, I haven't seen any evidence of that. So just so you guys know, I don't think he's telling the truth.
It's coming. We are so wiretapped right now with all these Alexas and your phones and your laptops nowadays. I've come to reach the point now where they know more about you just from all these wiretap devices that, wasn't that many years ago, people were concerned about being wiretapped. Nowadays, you buy the wiretap from Amazon and you sit on your counter so it can listen to every one of your conversations. Just for some reason, just in the middle of a cooking, you decide you want a good pancake recipe. So you can ask this wiretap for one.
Well, technology is not going to stop. It's going to keep right on moving ahead. Maybe that would be another good podcast subject would be, let's do some talk about Kindles and the different varieties of Kindles that there are, or e-readers, I should probably say, rather than Kindle. Kindle is kind of Amazon specific. But that would be probably a good podcast to talk about. Not only is what are you reading on your electronic device, but what electronic device are you reading? So if you guys want to go and leave us a comment and tell us what you think a beach read is. Tell us what electronic device you're using to read your beach read on. We'll be happy to reward you for that effort. We've decided that we're going to give out a social media content calendar. This will be very helpful to other writers who need some organization in what they're posting on social media. We've created it already. We're using it ourselves. It's very handy, and we'd like to share it with you. All we require is that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have to go out to Writer Groupie Podcast on YouTube and become a subscriber. And if you will do that, drop us a line here on the blog or a contact form. Get in touch with us through social media somehow and let us know that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will happily send you this social media content calendar that will help you keep track of what you're posting, where you're posting it, what your deadline is, when you posted it, and who the poster was, and what the title of the post was, what the content of the post was. There's a lot of good stuff in our social media content calendar. So you guys go out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and get the social media content calendar. Is there anything else you can think of, Bill?
Well, while you're mentioning in the comments of what you're reading, with your genre, also drop an author's name. What genre do you also prefer for a beach read? Do you want something that's spooky because it's daytime? Do you want something fun and light and laughter? Or what is it that you're really looking for also for your beach reads?
Yeah, I'm real curious to see what y'all come up with as to what you think a beach read is. I'd also like to know, do you think that a beach read should be a deep dive into a book, or should it be a light surface read like Bill was talking about? That's interesting things to us. We want to hear what your thoughts are. We want to know, we want to delve into your mind.
Why don't we gather this information, and later on maybe we can mention it in one of our podcasts about the readers that you're using. Try to come up with the statistics of what everybody is reading and the genre, the author, and even what devices. Is it more book? Is it more e-reader?
Hey, that's a good idea. If y'all want to be a part of this kind of impromptu survey, please leave us your information. We want to know, what are you reading? What are you reading it on? Would it classify as a beach read? What do you think a beach read is?
And your author.
And your favorite author. That would help. That would help a lot. Okay, you guys, well, that's this episode, this flyby Talking Heads episode with Bill and I about beach reads and e-readers and all other kinds of good stuff. Y'all tune back in soon. We got another episode coming up.
Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.
Today's episode is brought to you by A Private Practice by E.J. Linden. And the description is, someone is murdering men around the city of Pittsburgh. The victims have one thing in common. They've all been identified as perpetrators of domestic violence. Detectives Susan Wyckoff and Frank Dillard are on the case. Their only clue? The letter carved into the bloodied palms of each of the victims. A Private Practice by E.J. Linden is available for Kindle on Amazon. This episode is brought to you by E.J. Linden, the author of A Private Practice. And the product description reads, someone is murdering men around the city of Pittsburgh. The victims have one thing in common. They've all been identified as perpetrators of domestic violence. Detectives Susan Wyckoff and Frank Dillard are on the case. Their only clue? The letter carved into the bloodied palms of each of the victims. E.J. Linden is a writer of mystery and suspense, words that also define the author. A Private Practice is E.J.'s debut novel featuring Detective Susan Wyckoff. E.J. lives to write. When not writing, E.J. enjoys pizza and beer with friends, watching pro football, and long walks in the park. Okay, that last part isn't quite true. Watch for more to come from E.J. Linden. Available for Kindle on Amazon.
Infinity Author Services for your author services needs. We create professionally designed book covers as well as provide editing, promotions, update your social media accounts, and WordPress site. Let Infinity Author Services increase the exposure of your novels with our exciting promo packages. You can find out more at infinityauthors.com. Infinity Author Services for the indie author in you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Writer Groupie. For booking information, show notes, and more, visit writergroupie.net.